Okay, so today we're going to work on simplifying radicals. All right, I've turned my page this way because I think it's going to work out better, so ignore my little lines here. All right, so we've got the square root of 25 right here. Oh, there needs to be a 5 right there. All right, we all know that the square root of 25 is 5, right? Well, we're understanding, first of all, that there is an understood 2 right out there. If you don't see anything out there, it's an understood 2. Just like we understand that 25 doesn't have an exponent, but if we did put an exponent, it would be the exponent of 1. Okay? So what this means right here is it wants you to look inside and see if you can find a pair of something. All right, well, obviously we understand that that's going to be 5 times 5, right? And so since that's a 2 right there, there's going to be a set of 5s right here. So we're going to pull one out right there, and it's going to be 5. So the square root of 25 is 5. All right, that sounds simple enough, but what happens when we come over here and we have the square root of 50? All right. So I'm going to take this guy right here, and I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way to where I come over here and do a factor tree. All right, so I know that 50, you can do it as 2 times 25. You can do it as 5 times 10. Whatever works, it's still going to end up being the same thing. I'm going to end up doing 5 times 10, just simply because when I see a 0 right here, I just automatically think of 10, something times 10. All right, this is prime, so I'm going to leave it be. This is not prime, so that's going to be 5 times 2. All right, so I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to write these out underneath my radical. I'm going to start with the lowest number, 2. You don't have to, but it just makes it easier for me. Times 5 times 5. All right, you see where I got those from? Right there. All right, now since this is understood to be a 2 right there, it's understood to be a 2, I'm going to look for pairs. Well, there's a pair right there. All right, so that means I'm going to bust this out, and I'm going to have 5 times the square root of the dude that's left in there that's all lonely, all by him's lonesome. He's hanging out right there by himself. So the square root of 50 can be simplified as 5 times the square root of 2. Ta-da! Let's do another one. Let's do it, because we can. Okay, so let's do the square root of 216. Look at that. Look at that. That one's fun. All right, so right off, I'm just looking at that, and I'm like, I don't have a clue. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to say 216, and I'm going to do a factor tree. First of all, I know that 6 is an even number. It's the last number, and it's an even number, so I know it's divisible by 2. If you're not sure what it is, go to your calculator, do it in there. I'm going to do it by hand. 2 into 2 is 1 time. 2 into 1 is 0. 2 into 16 is 8. Okay. Am I done? Negatory red letter, because this is an even number, so it can do it by 2 again. 2 into 10 is 5. 2 into there is 4. Am I done? Nope. 4 is even, so I know I can go there. 2 into 5 is 2 and 7, 27. All right, that's not even, but I also know it's not prime either, because I know that 3 times 9 is 27. And 9 is not prime, so I'm going to go 3 times 3. Now remember, this is prime. We can't have a 1 in here, so that won't work. It has to be... a prime number has 2 factors, 1 and itself. All right, so I'm going to come and take these right here and write them underneath my radical. All right, there's 1, 2, 3 2s. 1, 2, 3 2s. And there's 3 3s. So 1, 2, 3 3s. Okay, doke? Now remember, this is understood to be a 2 right there, so I'm looking for pairs, not triplets, pairs. So there's a pair, so I'm going to bring him on the outside. There's a pair, and we'll bring him on the outside. Now, don't forget they're being multiplied right there. All right, then who's left over? The 2 also being multiplied, and 3 are left inside there. All right, so now let's go fix this. 2 times 2 is 6, square root. 2 times 3 is 2. Did I say 2 times 2 is 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. So my answer right here, so the square root of 216 is 6 times the square root of 6. Okay? Well, that's all fine and good, but what if they ask us what is the cube root? Cube root of 216. Look at there, look at there. All right, well, I'm going to do the same kind of thing. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to factor it down in my little factor tree. So I'm going to write it down again. I'm not going to go through all that because we already know what it is right here. Got that? All right, so now it's not asking me for pairs, it's asking me for sets of 3. Well, there we go right there. There's a set of 3 numbers. There's a set of 3 numbers. So since this is a set of 3, I'm going to bring this 2 outside the radical. This is a set of 3, so I'm going to bring this 3 outside. There's nobody left. So there's nothing underneath the radical. So it's going to be 2 times 3, which is 6. So the cube root of 216 is 6. And if you go in your calculator and you say 6 times 6 is 36. 36 times 6 is going to be 216. Ta-da! We're sticking with the square roots right now because we're about to be going into the quadratic formula pretty soon. And so we're going to end up having to break, it's going to ask us to simplify the radical. Okay, doke? Alrighty, tighty. Have a great day.